our campaign is nearly derailed because of financial issue. So the past few days, I'm so touched by a group of people coming forth, organizing fundraising lunch and help us. And that's why tonight this rally is made possible. So on the national TV, I would like to thank all the funders, and I will reject categorically those who say that PPP is a mole party planted by PAP. Let me say, our funders are a group of people like you and me who are pro-family and medical doctors and medical professionals. Over here, I would like to say thank you to all of you. Without further ado, I will pass the time to Vias.
Thank you so much. Mic test. Okay, mic's not working. Thank you so much, Derek. So, given the shortness of time, I will not talk too much right now. I'm going to call up the first speaker, and he's the leader of the Ang Mo Kio team in the Ang Mo Kio GRC, standing here, and that would be William. Please give him a warm welcome. William, there you go, sorry.
Good evening. Good evening, Ang Mo Kio residents. Due to the time constraint, my speech will be shortened. Today, I will speak about something no parties want to talk about it. We have one minister who is so weak that the whole ministry is in the mess. The minister is none other than Mr. Chee Hong Tat. What happened to the transport ministry? Number one, MRT breakdown. Last year, MRT was breakdown for more than about 1 week. Luckily, there's no one injured. This is something, a wake-up call for all Singaporeans. LTA have been lax on the monitoring, on the maintenance of all trains and buses. This is something that we are lucky no one is injured or killed. What happened if something more severe accidents happen? We want to demand LTA to give all Singaporeans an answer. What has happened? Is there anything SMRT breached the maintenance schedule? Number two, OBU and Simply Go. If I'm the Minister of Transportation, the first thing I'm going to do is to sack the Chief Engineer of LTA. Why? Being the Chief Engineer, he doesn't know his work well. What are the things has inconvenienced all Singaporeans? OBU, you know, Chee Hong Tat has said due to the CPU cannot tahan the heat. So we have to separate the OBU unit into 2 different sections. Why? Because they are using cheap stuff. Why aren't they using military grade components? This is something unforgivable. Simply go. They have used 1,000 over people to test. But who are they? How come when Simply Goes come aboard and there are thousands and thousands of complaints? Isn't that we want to know what happened? Chi Hon Tat has been keeping quiet all over this. Next, LTA says they have no manpower. They do not have 24 hours enforcer. That's to say, can I say that if police do not have 24-hour service and a thief go into your house and they take all your belongings and you wait for the police come in the morning, or your house is in fire, you wait for your house to burn down before your fire engine and the fire people come and rescue your house. In the records, I would like to share a personal experience with LTA. You can check inside LTA if I'm going to say the truth. Malaysian cars are in Singapore. They are flashing the PRCs as well as all other foreigners. I have all the witnesses, and where are these Malaysian cars? I told them these Malaysian cars are in Singapore for the next 1 week. But they say due to operation secretness, they cannot review when are they going to do the operations. This is something I cannot accept it. Being a law enforcer, you need to be 24 hours helping Singaporeans, not office bound. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for William one more time. Now, William is a very forceful speaker, and I really love that about him. He's bold. And I just want to remind everyone what we are here for, why we are so boldly standing up. It's because of what our mission is to make Singapore our home again. This is what we want. We're not here to play games. We're not here for fanfare, for any kind of, trying to make a name for ourselves. But because we believe that this is our home and we want to fight for that. So the next person that I'd like to call on the stage is someone you already know. It's Miss Arba. She is someone who believes very much in charitable causes. She's someone who has her feet planted on the ground, who walks among us to help and lend a hand wherever she can. So let's give it up for Miss Arba.
Salam sejahtera rakyat Singapura dan penduduk Ang Mo Kio dan Tampines. Saya Arba'ah Harun. Hari ini saya berdiri bukan sekadar calon. Saya berdiri sebagai seorang ibu, seorang anak, seorang jiran, seorang rakyat yang memahami kesusahan anda. Kita negara kaya. Kita negara kaya. Tapi kenapa masih ramai yang hidup susah? Kenapa masih ada yang bekerja keras, tapi masa tua hidup sengsara? Ini bukan salah anda. Ini adalah salah sistem yang gagal dan kita mesti berani ubah. Apakah parti kuasa rakyat perjuangkan? Pertama, keluarga didahulukan. Sokongan bulanan untuk ibu bapa baru. Penjagaan kanak-kanak bersubsidi. Kerja fleksibel untuk ibu bapa. Kita hormat semua orang, tapi kita tegas mempertahankan nilai keluarga kita. Keluarga yang mempunyai asas moral dan didikan agama yang kuat dan mantap serta bahagia adalah baik untuk pembangunan sebuah negara. Baru-baru ini, saya mendapat tahu akan kemasukan gaya budaya LGBT dan kumpulan mereka ke Singapura. Atas dasar kemanusiaan, kami tidak menyerang atau anti mereka secara pribadi. Tapi kami tidak setuju dengan kegiatan mereka yang suka terlalu menonjol untuk orang awam. Ia boleh mengelirukan anak-anak yang belum matang dan boleh menjadi keliruan serta bahaya terhadap sistem dan institusi sebuah keluarga. Walaupun pemerintah kita telah membatalkan Seksyen 377A, bahayanya adalah kumpulan begini tidak puas hati, malah masih mencari jalan untuk dibenarkan dan diterima menjalankan hubungan sejenis dan berkahwin. Amatlah penting untuk ibu bapa dan keluarga mendidik serta memerhati pencampuran anak-anak supaya mereka tidak terpengaruh dengan budaya yang dilarang oleh agama Islam dan tidak disukai oleh kumpulan konservatif. Kita perlu meletakkan keluarga keutamaan sekali lagi. CPF, wang anda, hak anda. Hentikan kenaikan umur CPF. CPF adalah hak anda, bukan pemerintah punya. Kesihatan adalah hak anda. GST sifar untuk barangan, keperluan dan ubat. Insurans nasional yang kawal kos perubatan. Perumahan yang adil. Rumah yang untuk tinggal, bukan untuk jadi beban hutang. Harga mesti adil, bukan spekulatif. Pekerjaan untuk rakyat kita, datar, pekerjaan mesti telus. Kota pekerjaan pekerja asing mesti ikut keperluan sebenar, bukan ikut keuntungan. Takbir urus yang bersih dan berani. Audit GIC dan Temasek. Hadkan gaji menteri kerana kepimpinan adalah amanah, bukan jalan cepat jadi jutawan. Dan saya mahu tambah sesuatu yang penting hari ini. Kami lawan sikap tidak berkemanusiaan dan buli cyber. Rakyat kita tidak boleh dibuli di dunia maya hanya kerana perbezaan pandangan. Kita mesti lawan budaya memalukan orang lain. Kita mesti bina budaya hormat. Kami perjuangkan hak bebas banduan untuk memulakan hidup baru. Semua orang berhak mendapat peluang kedua. Mereka sudah membayar kesilapan lalu. Kita mesti beri mereka motivasi, peluang bekerja dan keyakinan untuk membina masa depan baru, bukan terus-menerus mencemuh mereka. Kerana sebuah negara yang besar adalah negara yang tahu memaafkan, membimbing dan membina, bukan menjatuhkan. Rakyat Singapura, ini pilihan kita. Kita pilih nak teruskan sistem lama atau nak cipta masa depan baru untuk semua tanpa tinggalkan siapa. Jika anda mahukan keadilan, peluang dan keberanian, undilah parti kuasa rakyat. Undilah untuk GRC Ang Mo Kio dan GRC Tampines. Undilah untuk Singapura yang berani berperi kemanusiaan. Marilah jadikan Singapura rumah kita semula. Majulah Singapura. Terima kasih.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for her, please. I think that even though you can tell that she's nervous, she has heart. She is someone who cares about the people on the ground. And that's something that we expect of all our leaders, to lead from the front, to not just be up there in their ivory towers, looking down on us, but to be among us, to know how we feel. That's important. That's what it means to make a home. It's about heart. That's what we care about in the People's Power Party. We want to be leaders with heart, not just head. So before I start talking too long, let me give the stage here to my good friend, Thaddeus. Thaddeus is also a man of the ground. He's someone who works in construction and he knows what's happening. He knows how to lead his men. So let's give him some time. Round of applause for Thaddeus, please.
Mike, all right. Good evening, Ang Mo Kio residents.
It's off.
大家好 ini Tamil Makkale, vanakkam. Okay guys, thanks for coming down on this weekday especially. This is our third rally and we are planning for more. That shows how important it is for us to let you guys know what it is we are talking about. Thank you. Firstly, I would like to quote Minister that said, Singapore will be facing the world and not opposition parties when the dust settles. In actual fact, the whole world is already on our shores and we are in battle with them every day for our jobs. The surge of Singaporeans going overseas these days are on a timely high, not for holidays, but to purchase medicine and groceries from across the causeway. And if that is not sad enough, what do they tell you? To look for affordable old-aged homes for our loved ones from across the causeway and Bintan. Is this what our pioneer generation deserves? Is this what you deserve? The discord we have and the pain you hear from us today is actually words from the elderly and the oppressed from the grounds when we do our walkabouts. The outcome of this living standard and what we portray is different. And there's no way you can dilute that even if you speak the Queen's English. Policies like the minimum salary threshold for S-Pass and EP seems to be working against us. We at PPP, we are looking into job security, cost of living, and daily bread. The PAP must do so and then look into the state-of-the-art facilities or nuclear power station. Otherwise, for whom are we building this for? On job security, if a foreigner holds a degree where English isn't the medium of instruction in his native country but is recognized here, why do we suppress our own students by placing a bar for it? The English language is not the universal bar for employment in Singapore as per MOM. So why do we suppress our own students with a separate guideline? Is this fair for us? How are we equipping them to face the working world? For that, PPP will look in policies on how we can promote students without using a total merit system. The orthodox way of education system is working against us in this current time and date. And it must be amended before we have a country full of educated Singaporeans working for subpar foreigners. The government is talking about reskilling and upskilling Singaporeans. But the same courses are also available to these foreigners. Does this benefit us? Now, sandwich, we have foreign talents taking jobs from PMETs, and we also have migrant workers coming and upgrading themselves to take over the blue-collar jobs. So where is job security? How are we protected? For that, PPP suggests that certain jobs and courses to be exclusive for Singaporeans to ensure our country, which has no natural resources, can maintain her high level of standard she needs. This is the reason why, even after years of employing foreign talents, we are still unable to cultivate our own pool of talent. And to prevent the influx of foreigners, PPP aims to level the playing field of employment for Singaporeans. In order to do that, we will need to eradicate the limited capacity of courses available in tertiary education. PPP will ensure that all students are secured a course according to their own choice and academic performances, without being limited by course availability. We are not choosing lunch here. This is their future. This is Singapore's future. We didn't have any issue injecting 100 million to boost the arts and culture. Why do we have issues in the class seats now? Is this prioritizing Singaporeans? You know, I think we have the world's largest, highest number of educated taxi and Grab drivers. Speaking of which, our taxi drivers are like anthropologists, you know, study on humans, and because they have a very good insight on the country, and their 2 cents worth is worth listening to. And most of them will tell you, PAP is actually good. PAP did this and did that, how you are living. But when I ask them, Uncle, you're actually 69 years old, why are you still driving? And then they'll take a very deep pause, like in a traffic light. And then they'll spend the next 20 minutes telling you how bad PAP is. Singaporeans, you need to ask yourself, is this what you want? Now is not a time to vote for safe anymore. It's about voting for your life and mine, because this isn't a game of cards. About 121 Malaysian motorcycles enter Singapore daily. They only pay $4 for the VEP, Vehicle Entry Permit, which substitutes to the COE. So my question is, why can't Singaporeans also pay COE for the motorcycles in smaller installments like the Malaysians? There are only 144,000 Singapore-registered motorbikes, which all of them are not on the road on a daily basis. This will remove the burden of service on a bigger loan with interest over 7 years. Like I said, you must eat the same porridge as us to understand how salty the porridge is. For that, PPP will ensure we level the playing field for all Singaporeans against foreigners in all aspects because we care for Singapore. It is our duty to put Singaporeans first. Vote for PPP. Thank you very much.
I really like the way Thaddeus talks. He's got a lot of excellent punchlines. Let's hear it for him one more time. Now we are in the final lap. Polling day is just this weekend. So now is the time where it's not about dragging other people through the mud and any personal vendetta. We are trying to talk to you and tell you about the solutions that we have to bring to the table. Because what we want and what everyone is talking about is not problems first, but solutions. I think in Singapore, we have a problem where we like to worship our mistakes. We like to focus so hard on the mistakes and the problems until they become more important than the solutions. That's got to change. So that's why now we're talking about policies. We're talking about why you should vote for People's Power Party. What is it that we can do to serve all of you to the best of our ability? That's what we want to talk about. And isn't that what we want to hear? Excellent. So before I continue, our next speaker is someone with solutions. He's a business owner. He's someone who is an innovator. He's somebody who knows how to solve the problems, not skirt around them. And that is Mr. Peter. Give it up for him.
Thank you. 各位朋友，晚上好。You are smart to be here。这是真心话。今天让我来说一说，为什么年复一年，经过这么多年，已经40多年了，我们需要全世界最高的薪水来让人家当部长、当总理、当总统之后呢？结果是 GST 起价，碳税慢慢在起。水火电起价，交通费起价，医疗费起价 ，HDB 也在起价，所以什么东西就在起价。那之后呢 ？HDB 99年后就归零，现在还没有解决方法，但是他们拿的是世界上最高的薪水，所以。我请求那些继续要支持 PPP 的，继续支持他们，因为你们将来就是一直在喜欢起价。如果不喜欢起价呢，就支持 PPP。大家要知道，碳税现在是每公斤25块每公吨，将来会慢慢起到80块每公吨。也许大家没有概念，也就是每20元的公吨，每一公吨是大概你总水电费的1%，也是说大选之后还会再继续起价。所以，如果其他新加坡人要还是不要改变，还是不要透明，不要公正，不要自由，但是喜欢天天起价，薪水不起价，我再小声说一声，支持 PPP。我曾经也在 Tampines 巨选区居住过。所以在那边有些朋友问我， Tampines 季选区现在有这么多个政党在竞争，但是呢，主要呢就是要说 PPP 还是 Worker Party， 到底他们之间有什么区别呢？他想投票，他是他第一次投票，所以呢，我就告诉他们，这个政党呢，这两个呢，其实呢区别不会很大。那就问我为什么呢？我就简单的举个例子，每当 PPP 候选人群众大会结束的时候，你们会发觉到一些动作，就是结束了之后才会说 Maju lah Singapura啦 ，Maju lah Singapura啦。工人党领导人在群众大会结束之后，也会大声喊 Maju lah Singapura啦 ，Maju lah Singapura啦。这两个有什么不一样呢？但是呢 ，PPP 我们会说 Meet Singapore Home Again，Meet Singapore Home Again， 这就是不一样。所以呢，我在这里借这个机会，希望 Tampines 季选区懂得怎么样明智投票，投票给 PPP。因为呢，工人党呢，当他们是国会议员的时候，没打疫苗需要坐牢，他没反抗，也没反对，静悄悄的让这个法令给通过。这个是有关到生死的问题啊！怎么会这样的情况出现呢？所以这些盲点、这些缺点，我很希望 Tampines 季选区你们注意一下。如果你们要有自由权，你们要有选择权，不打疫苗不用坐牢，因为这个关系到人命关天，关系到大家的死和活，请支持 PPP 人民力量党。谢谢。国家需要多方面、不同声音、不同的角度，去互相多面性监督与制衡。Political counterbalance and checking， 这个是工人党很同意的。我相信，我更加不相信自己需要检查自己的制度。On sale 就 on sale， 只有一个人相信，一个队伍相信，就是 PPP。所以我请求所有的 Tampines 季选区 Tampines 居民们，今天开始投票给 PPP 人民力量党进入国会。因为我们进入国会之后，我们会审查所有国会里的各个政党的表现跟工作，我们会做好你们的审核部队。再说 PPP 人民行动党在 Worker Party 的帮助之下，在 Marine Parade 已经胜利了，所以我请求大家不要怕，不要怕，敢敢投票给 PPP 人民力量党。有人问我，当我们进入国会之后，如果工人党在里面不听话，我怎么办呢？放心，我用铁球敲他的头。有人问我，在国会里 PPP 很多人打瞌睡，那怎么办呢？没事，我用闪电闪他一下，他就醒来了。所以各位放心，敢敢投我们一票。我们有很多人干的队伍，我们这边队伍有工程师，也有很多的是经济学家，也有些是 hands-on personnel。所以呢，大家不用担心，敢敢直接投票给我们。如果你们有任何疑问，这个疑问是为什么要投票给你？你跟其他有什么不一样？那直接打电话给 PPP， 我们会做 很详细的解释给你们听。所以在 PPP 人民力量党的强而有力的监督之下，大家应该会有更努力，使明天会更好。Make Singapore home again. Make Singapore home again. 谢谢。
Let's hear it again for Peter. I like what he said just now. He said something. He said, you're smart for being here. Turn to your neighbor and say, you are smart for being here. Exactly. All of you guys all of us in Singapore are well educated. Sometimes I wonder if the government remembers that or not. Because I feel most of the time they're treating me like a toddler. Is that what we deserve as citizens? Exactly. I want to share with you a little something. In Singapore or in the world, there's something every politician, every would-be leader has to face up to. And that is a great temptation. What is that temptation? It is the temptation to tell the people what they want to hear instead of what is true. If you do that, and many people do that, you might gain the power, but you'll be leading the people astray. So I urge one and all to remember what is more important is not things that we hear that we like, but what is true, what is good, what is noble and helpful for the nation. That is what you should be voting for. And in here, the PPP, the People's Power Party, this is something we believe in. The reason why we have a torch as our symbol is because we stand for truth. We will not lie to you. We will talk about the things that no one else wants to talk about because we believe first and foremostly in truth. That's what we want. That's what the people deserve. This is our assurance to you, the citizens, that we stand for truth. We will ask the questions. We will make sure we get the right answers for the sake of our nation. That's what we believe in. And to that end, I have someone who has been working for the people his whole life. Someone who, as Goh Meng Singh has said before, likes to be remembered as a humble civil servant. I have Martin. Please give him a round of applause.
A very good evening to all of you. I'd like to do this to remind all of you of our great leader, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He spoke in 1980 at Fullerton Square at an election rally where he made a very powerful quote that his son tried to emulate but could not. He said very strongly, "Whoever rules this country must have the iron in him. If not, forget it." He was qualified to say that because back in 1959, when he became the leader of PAP, the chairman, I think, he had to fight against the communists to stay in power. If not, he will be killed by the communists. Then in 1965, Singapore got kicked out from the Malaysian Federation by Tunku Abdul Rahman. And we are left alone, a small country with no factories, no industrial estate. I mean, there are a few cottage small industries, but no big industrial estate. We had not much resources. Our people were poorly educated. And we didn't even have a military army to protect our country. When he addressed the people, he shed a few tears. But he did not send a message of fear. Quite unlike the fourth generation PM that we have today. When Trump gave this tariff to Singapore, 10%, he spread a message of fear as if without FTA, our economy will collapse. Perhaps true if nothing is done. But think of it back then in the 60s. We don't have factories and yet we persevered, we brought in the industries, and our people, our pioneer generation, along with the first generation of leaders, made it. 20 years later, we are able to sing proudly, we are Singaporeans, we are Singapore, Singapore, you know. This is our home, this is my nation, these are my people. But today, a lot of us don't feel at home anymore. That's why PPP, our motto is make Singapore home again, where you feel comfortable, you are able to have job security. Even if you have no jobs, the conditions are favorable for you to start your own small businesses without high rentals, heavy taxes, high cost of transportation. 2 days ago at Ang Mo Kio market, we spoke to this vegetable seller. He says in a few months' time, I need to scrap my vehicle. I need to scrap my goods vehicles because I cannot afford to pay the COE. You look at my neighbors, a lot of them are unable to continue their business because they cannot afford a goods vehicle. I pose this question to Cheong Tat. Can you do something about it as a transport minister? Or are you just there to collect a high pay? Now, Lee Kuan Yew did more than just what he did. He's a man of vision, a man of conviction, and a man of foresight. He could see what is going to happen in future by observing Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, his son. And he asked his favorite grandson for ideas, what can be done to help to go through or circumvent the situation which Singapore was facing. And his favorite grandson was able to give him a good response. And he had to convey it to Mr. Lee, the Prime Minister, by 2004. And he wasn't happy with his nephew. His nephew's maternal grandfather is none other than the economics professor Lim Chong Yah, who penned my economics textbook. I can remember back in '84 when Lee Hsiang Yang got married to Lee Shefen. Professor Lim Chong Yah was in my church, was very happy and glad on that day, together with Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. Fast forward to today, I think the two of them look down at what is happening to Singapore and what happened to Shefen and Hsiang Yang. I think they are very sad. The gifted grandson not only inherited the likeness and the genes of LKY, but also his maternal grandfather. He's currently an economics professor in Harvard. He's on, I don't know whether he's on exile or not, but it seems like he cannot come back even for his grandfather's funeral. Similarly to Hsiang Yang and his wife Shefen, why? Why are they not allowed to come back? Is this not their home? You think about it. If Mr. Lee Hsien Loong can't even keep his family together, how is he going to keep Singapore together in one piece? Now, I'm not spreading the message of fear. If more people vote for the opposition and the new Prime Minister is unable to form a government, don't panic because we went through it under LKY. And LKY had a vision to groom his favorite grandson. Not only nature, the genes, but also the nurture. Groom him. He actually had in mind that one of these days, this young man may be able to save Singapore at such a time. When Mr. Lee Kuan Yew said, if anything happens to Singapore, I will wake up. That was his commitment. But if he cannot come back, I'm sure his grandson can come back. And that's why I say, even if we don't have enough ministers who seek high pay in Parliament after this election, don't worry. We can always appoint the best people to take over the ministerial positions, even if they are not MPs. And we don't have to pay them very high salary. If they are willing to work for the good of Singapore, just like our first generation leaders. You just imagine what happened after 1984. When Mr. Lee Hsien Loong came into politics, there's a succession of paper generals to take over, and this has not proven very well for Singapore. So with that, I want to assure you that nothing bad will happen to Singapore even if they don't win. And my last analogy to you, if a building has structural integrity fault, the steel beams have corroded, you must demolish the building and rebuild again to make it safe. With that, I will hand you over to Veer. Thank you very much.
One more round of applause for Martin, please. Martin represents someone who has experience, who's been there and done that, and has seen Singapore ever since it was a young child until now all grown up. And I want to highlight something he said. It's not about fear. This thing about fear is something that permeates our society, and it is very toxic. If you ask me, a home is somewhere where we are not afraid, somewhere where we feel safe. I'm not talking about just physical safety, all the safety. Safety of your heart, your emotions, your mind, the safety and freedom to speak the truth, to relate to each other freely. That's what I want in a home without fear. To pick up on this fearlessness that I believe we all must adopt, I have my good friend also, Mr. Derek Sim. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Singapore. Good evening, Tampines and Ang Mo Kio. Thank you all for coming down and support us. You heard my message for the past two rally. So I will start off with this Chinese phrase. 国之乱臣，家之败子，才有余而得不足，以导致颠覆者多矣。So what does this mean? The first sentence said, bad minister will ruin the country. Unfilial son will ruin the house, the home. These people do not lack talents, but they lack values and moral. And this is why many people are standing up against them. This phrase exactly describes what is happening now in Singapore. Since when do you see so many opposition parties standing up everywhere to speak up against our minister? And I want to say, PPP is the only party that will bring the torch of truth into the parliament. Today, you heard that maybe for the first time you are hearing this. The law has been changed. In future pandemic, if you refuse to take vaccination, you will be sent to jail. How many people know about that? Do you agree with this? Send us to the parliament. I will ask PAP, why did you enact such a draconian law against our people? Send me to parliament. I will ask WP, why didn't you speak up? A lot of people say, why I join PPP? Why not branded party like WP? I say it's a values. It's about the values and integrity. We are not populist party. Many people are injured by the vaccine. We walk around, we know. Your friends, your family members, your loved ones. Many people have wrote in to PAP, MPs and ministers. And many people has also wrote in to WP, asked them to bring this topic out. Personally, I myself discovered something weird back then. My friend's father-in-law passed away 1 week after taking the vaccination. On the third day, he suffered heart palpitation. The daughter bring him to a GP. Went through ECG, checked, nothing happened. The GP say, it's okay. The next day, he has heart palpitation again. Went to GP, checked, GP say nothing wrong. 3 days later, he was a Grab driver. He passed away on the expressway. Parked his car one side on the hazard signal and died inside. Traffic police discovered the body. My own friend is a teacher. As MOE teacher, they have to go for the jab. He took the second jab, went home, 45 minutes later, he collapsed in the toilet. Face purplish. Sent to A&E. The good thing is, he did not pass away. But his health was not the same anymore. I believe these are not just isolated cases. But PAP has been ignoring other people's story, suppressing this, and the worst thing, they changed the law. They changed the Coroner's Act. Not Corona. Corona is beer. Coroner's Act. Okay, so what did they change? In the third schedule, they removed one of the category, which is death by medical intervention or medical treatment. Why did they do that? Ask yourself. Because there's no need for autopsy to find out what is the cause of death. And that is why Singapore, no one died from mRNA COVID vaccine. Because the law has been changed. There is no need to do autopsy to find out why this person died suddenly. This is travesty. This is betrayal of the people. And WP is complicit in this. People ask me why I joined politics. 2 words, bo pian. You can say, I will vote for PAP because bo pian. Opposition are not good. Cannot make it. You vote again, PAP. They come out with this law, no jab, sent to jail. You don't believe? Have they done that before? Yes. No jab, no job. Is it correct? How many people take because bo pian? Because they have to go to work. But inside their heart, they are so scared. Why are they so scared? And why our government do this to them? To make matter worse, do you know, health officers are now empowered to break into your house during a pandemic to enforce health measure for your good. This is what PAP always tell you. Vote for me. Everything I do is for your own good. Is it true? If your vaccine is so good, I will tell Ang Mo Kio, if your vaccine is so good, you don't need this kind of law. We will go and take. You don't have to jab or jail people to take the vaccine. Can you imagine? All fathers, all mothers. If you cannot even prevent government officer from breaking into your house to drag you out and force you to take your jab, can you protect anything? This is now legal in Singapore. And why no one is speaking up? Why no other opposition party is speaking this up? I can tell you, pandemic is baked into our system. We have 5 vaccine factories in Singapore. Recently, we invested 2 billion USD into one of the vaccine factory. One of it is solely manufacturing mRNA vaccine. And with all this law, you will be just digit and let mice. This is what I do not want to see. I'm an ex-law enforcer for 8 years. I know how law, when we enforce, can be very cold and merciless. And not all law enforcers are good. This is a shit piece of law. It can be abused easily. Do you still want to vote for PAP? Remember just now I say, funders come in. A lot of support are pouring in. This morning, another funders, he bought all of our merchandise. So later, can just go over and take for free. If you still want to donate to us, please donate. But remember just now what I say. Who donated to us? Medical doctors. Medical professional. Why did they vote? Why did they support us from behind? When they found that we lack of funds for this rally, all of them actually came forward. Next, I want to talk about governance. The carbon tax, just now Peter mentioned. The table of price is already there. 2 years ago, it's $5 per ton. Now it's $25 per ton. So how much increase is that? 500% in 2 years. Can your pay increase 500% in 2 years? I want to tell you, this is a heartless government. There's no need for carbon tax at this juncture when high inflationary environment are affecting all our life. Next year, they're going to increase to 45%, $45 per ton. And that's 80% increase. Can your pay increase 80%? And do you know what? Tampines voter, let me get this clear. WP is a huge advocate of carbon tax. You do not know that, right? They support PAP on this. And that is a big issue to us. We are the only opposition party totally reject this carbon tax. By 2030, PAP already announced the carbon tax will be $80 per ton. So from $5 per ton to $80 per ton in 7 years, what is the percentage increase? 1,600% in 7 years. Are you ready for that? Go vote for WP. Go vote for PAP if you want more carbon tax, more cost of living rise. Before I forget, I would like to share a message from Professor Gabriel Woon. For those who don't know him, he is a top oncologist in Singapore. He was the first vaccine, he actually oversees the first vaccine manufacturing, and he was tasked by our former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. He also sat at the advisory board for WHO back then in 1984. And Lee Kuan Yew told him, make sure the vaccine is 300% safe. So, to Professor Gabriel Woon, he wanted me to share this. Can PAP be trusted with protecting our lives from danger? They show that they are incompetent, but more importantly, they cover up by suspending doctors, practicing license, and removing Coroner's Act in May 2023, removing checks. This Coroner Act is meant to protect medical transparency. There is no good reason to remove this. Why WP did not speak up? I want to ask them this. Send me to Parliament, I will ask Ong Ye Kung, as a regulator, why are you behaving like a sales rep of pharmaceutical companies? What a regulator should do right now with tons of medical journal and literature released of the side effect of the vaccine. A responsible regulator should be going through all this medical evidence, conduct our own research over here to see whether it correlates with other country medical literature. Why didn't they do that? If I'm in the Parliament, we will push for an independent commission of inquiry to address all those who have been ignored, injured. Thank you. These are all governance issues. And before I end, my teammate will talk more about governance. I want all of you to think through. Are we seeing more of double standard now? PAP do one thing, other people cannot do. Tell me, Keppel Marine case is a corruption case involving 55 million USD. Why is it only stern warning? Why is it stern warning? The trace together, it is tantamount to lying to the members of public. Okay, I will end my speech here. I will pass my time to my rest of the teammate. Thank you.
Once again, Derek, give him a round of applause. Derek used to be an investigating officer in the Singapore Police Force. So I think he's someone that we can trust with investigation. After hearing all this evidence that Derek presented to you, all I can say is this, that from henceforth, it's in your hands, Singapore. It's in your hands the Singaporeans, to decide. You have to choose. We can only present to you the truth. We can only tell you the facts. But you have to make your choice and your decision and live with it. That's what every single one of us here in the People's Power Party have done. We've made our choice to stand up and to make our voices heard. And not sit down, roll over and play dead and give in to fear. So I urge you, one and all, to be fearless. Singaporeans, we're the lion city. Let's not be sleeping lions. Let's be roaring lions. All of you, make your voices heard. You can do it. Together, we can do it. We do not need to be afraid. Not for 1 second. Not in a home. We want a home without fear. To continue this topic, I have Heng Zheng Dao. He is the youngest, I believe, candidate in Singapore right now, standing in this election at only 24 years old. If someone young like him can stand up for what's right, then I think the rest of us have no excuse. We can do it. And he has been such an inspiration to myself and everyone else in the team. So let's hear it for Zheng Dao.
Testing, testing. Can you all hear me? Good evening, Tampines. Good evening, Ang Mo Kio. And good evening, Singaporeans. I am 24 years of age, and I'm standing here today before you as a candidate. Bravo! Thank you. A lot of my friends have told me, is this very fun? I tell you all, this is not fun. What does it mean to be a political candidate? I have to be under scrutiny. I have to fear for my life. Do you know how many laws there are today in Parliament that grant a minister large amount of power? Across the past 60 years, as Singaporeans, how many times have you felt afraid in your life? I have analyzed Singapore's success across the past 60 years. A lot of people talk about Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Kuan Yew. I look and I study, and there's one other name that needs to be mentioned. His name is Mr. Goh Keng Swee. Without Mr. Goh Keng Swee, where would Singapore be today? Look at the last 5 years. With PAP as the dominant party in Singapore, do we have Mr. Goh Keng Swee figure inside PAP? Of course, Mr. Goh Meng Seng is also a Mr. Goh. And we hope he can be the next Mr. Goh Keng Swee. Across the past 20 years as I grew up, I look at all the PAP prime ministers and ministers of parliament, members of parliament. I look at Shanmugam. He tells us, Singaporeans, GST are a good thing. Do you agree with that? I look at Mr. Ong Ye Kung, his health policies. Do you agree with that? Let's look at the fear factor inside all of us and why I should be fearful today. Putting my life out here, fighting for all of you. As Singapore nation building started, I'm sure across your life you have heard of the operations that were conducted. Some of these operations are cold and heartless, namely Operation Cold Store and Operation Spectrum. These excess power granted to ISD and ISA made Singaporeans fear for their life. Do you know, under the reason that they give of communism and Marxism, They have detained so many of our past Singaporeans who wanted to fight for Singapore for a better change. Let me tell you and mention some of their names to pay respect and honor them. Number 1, during Operation Coastal, Mr. Lin Ching Cheong. He was the co-founder of PAP back then. But he left PAP and started his own political party. No direct evidence have been publicly presented as to why there were accusations of him working with communists. But he was arrested and detained. Number 2, Mr. Said Zahari. He was also a president of one of the political parties back then, which was aligned with the Barisan Socialists. He was detained under Operation Coastal for alleged subversive activity. But in actuality, he was a well-respected journalist and intellectual. He was detained without trial for 17 years. Do you want that to happen to you? This is the set amount of power we have given to ISD under ISA law. Should we review this? You vote us in, we will review ISD and ISA law. All these Singaporeans should not fear today. Of course, those might be things of the past. Today, we have the POFMA law enacted in the last few years. Do you know this law grants any minister of the member of parliament to tell that Singaporeans what you are saying is not true? A minister that you vote into parliament can tell you that. Be wise for who you vote for. How this law is enacted and will be carried out in the next 5 years will determine whether we have freedom of speech. You know, growing up as a young Singaporean, I played some games, namely Clash of Clans. And what the Americans tell me, I thought it was a joke. They told us freedom of speech. Ha! Does your country have that? Back then, freedom of speech. Important, meh? Today, we have POFMA in parliament. In the next 5 years, who knows what excessive power they will grant to these ministers? Do you know what we are campaigning about regarding your body and medical freedom? It's a lot of topic that Singaporeans turn a deaf ear to. If you cannot speak freely, if you cannot have your own body rights as medical freedom, do you think you are still a human? With the AI age coming out, there have been studies done on brain implants and how they can be inserted into your human brain. Do you want to have a say over that? Be wise of who you vote inside parliament the next 5 years. Your vote will tell a lot of how they make the laws. You know, I was talking to one teacher back then a few months ago when he heard I joined PPP as a candidate. We had a nice talk and he told me the values in our education system are eroding. A student who cheats in the exam could represent the school in one of those tournament competitions. What does this say about those in our education system and what we are teaching our next generation? Is it okay to cheat? Is it okay to lie in parliament? All these, you all have the answer. Think carefully. How we raise our next generation while we compete for foreigners and with foreigners, will be very crucial moving ahead. Let's take a look at the next 5 years and why I'm here today. A lot of people ask me, bro, why do you join politics? A lot of them are people my age, my classmates. Some of them are older than me. Here's my answer to you today. Do you think the system is fair and just today? Across the past 5 years, for those who vote for PAP, you all better wake up. There are so many issues for you to reconsider. One of them was the Keppel case mentioned by our ex-police officer and our chairman, Derek. Millions of these dollars are let off with a stern warning. Tell me, do you want to be in that position? After that, we have the adultery case, which our Prime Minister, Lee Hsien Loong, knew about for 2 years. Is it okay to cover this story up for 2 years? What are we telling our Singaporeans? That's okay to cheat and have adultery as Member of Parliament. And you, ex-Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, kept quiet for 2 years.
3 years.
3 years? Where are your values? Does the government today belong to PAP? Or does it belong to Singaporeans? Your vote tells everything. Of course, there are elderly residents and rich businessmen who support PAP. They have their own support, and we as common people should vote wisely and make our vote be known. Look at the buses at nomination day that ferry all these PAP supporters. Oh my God. So many of them. This is how important your vote are to us. Of course, there were corruption cases happening in the last 5 years inside Parliament as well. Are you all aware of it? Yes. Tell me, I serve my national service in the police force. Civil servants, do you condone this? No. 4 core values of SPF are courage, loyalty, integrity, and fairness. Civil servants, your vote speaks a lot about your stance on these corruption issues. I know as civil servants, you cannot publicly criticize the government. Your vote can. Show me your values of who you vote for in the parliament for the next 5 years. I am 24 years old, I'm standing before you to prove and raise these issues up. Singaporeans, the power belongs to you, not the government. I hope you all remember that. And I hope the fear factor inside of you all, do not let it consume you. Thank you.
That was really something. One more round of applause for Chen Tao. Even at such a young age, he speaks with such conviction. That's really admirable. This guy is my hero, basically. Okay, we don't have much time yet. Anymore, sorry. We don't have much time now. So I'm going to move things along a little bit. But before I move to the next speaker, I just want to touch a bit more on this culture of fear. why it's eating us from the inside. If we maintain this culture of fear, if we keep this up, it will become a toxic culture in Singapore. People wonder why they would rather cover up their mistakes than let them be in the open, than admit them. It's because of fear. If we keep fear up in the society, then we keep progress down, because no one wants to step up out of fear. That's why it's important that we fight this. That's why we need to have a home without fear. Okay, moving along, I have someone who I can see everyone's very excited to see. Our local superstar, Samuel. Come, bro.
Thank you, Phil. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well now. But reflect what happened over the past 5 years. Are you concerned about the rising healthcare costs? Let me tell you one thing. We, the People's Power Party, is the only party to see the root cause of this issue. This is why our manifesto explicitly says that there is a need for reform in the MediShield. I urge everyone to go to our website, read our manifesto, and compare with whatever other parties has proposed their solution. You will realize our solution is more comprehensive. I don't kid you, because I read and I want to remind all Tampines GRC voters, our teammate Abba Harun, she is also a social worker. She is the founder of a grassroots volunteer charity service, and she's in the social work for a very long time. So, she is a credible alternative voice in the parliament. You do not lose a social worker voice in the parliament by voting PPP, especially in Tampines GRC. Together with she and I, we will be the part of the solution to help the ex-convicts to make sure the Yellow Ribbon project, the potential of it, goes to the appropriate level. I need to consider the time now. I need to let my next speaker, Goh Meng Seng, to address the crowd for what is the most pressing issue, why we are running this campaign for. So, I need to pass the mic back to Bill. Thank you, everyone.
Is that all? Come on, louder, louder for Samuel. You know, I'm really impressed that Samuel bounced back so well from the initial reception that he has. I think that Samuel is someone that just goes to show that second chances are important and that you don't need to judge a book by its cover. This guy speaks well and he's got solutions, so we give him a chance. So one more time for Samuel. All right, our last speaker for tonight, the one and only Mr. Goh Meng Seng, to share with us his thoughts and his insight into what's going on right now, remembering why we are running this campaign. Go ahead, sir.
Merdeka! 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 That's what Lee Kuan Yew used to do. But I'm not Lee Kuan Yew. I'm Goh Meng Seng. And Goh Beng Seng will always be Goh Beng Seng. That's someone say. If Goh Beng Seng is not Goh Beng Seng, I'll be either in heaven or hell. But I have not formally introduced myself. Who is Goh Beng Seng? I think a lot of you have read from all the social media a smearing campaign that talk about me. But let me formally introduce myself. I've never introduced myself in such a way. Right? I'm a straightforward guy. I'm straight. I'm straight. Remember, I'm straight. Right? Who believe dearly in defending and protecting my fellow countries, men and women rights and interests. And that's very core to me. Regardless of who makes mistakes that compromise Singaporeans' interests and well-being, I will speak up. I will not just keep quiet. And that is Goh Beng Seng. I will be the first to jump out, not from the grave. I will be the first to jump out and say, look, guys, you have actually disappointed people. You have actually betrayed people. You have actually put people's life at stake. And that is Goh Beng Seng. I always introduce myself as a half Chinese educated person because I came from a SAP school in the 1980s. I actually wanted to go to the Chinese school. But you know what? Before I can get into one, they changed the law. No more Chinese school, only SAP school. So I went into it, River Valley High. I'm very proud of my heritage. As a Chinese educated person, I learned something very important. The values of a gentleman we call 君子. Anybody actually remembers that? I really don't think any of the PPP ministers actually knows this. It says, 富贵不能淫，贫贱不能移，威武不能屈. What does it mean? I think all the blank faces, I think the young ones would not know. This is for Confucius ethic. It means this. When we are rich and wealthy, we should not be dictated. That means don't flirt around. Don't flirt around your wealth. Right? But when we are poor and down, we should never compromise our values and become thieves and beggars. And when we are faced with mighty opponents, we shall never surrender and succumb to their bully. And that is a gentleman to be. And that is Goh Beng Seng. Whenever I'm being hamdam bola by the ministers for POFMA and all that, I never give up. Because I speak from my heartfelt truth. What is wrong with them? Not because I hated them. I do not know them. I have no personal interest in them. I'm straight. Right. That word cannot say, so I say I'm straight. Right? And someone actually commented this to me this morning, wrote in, he said in Chinese actually, right? Chinese is more better to understand. 反对党少有的最后一块硬骨头. Do you know what it means? It means I'm already quite extinct as a person in opposition with the hardest spine around. And that is Goh Beng Seng. In spite of all the things that's thrown at me, but if you really understand me, understand my values and where I'm coming from, after your anger subsides, you will see a clearer picture what lies in my words. And in fact, after we walk around, I believe this is walk around in Ang Mo Kio, with some, I think about 30 plus years old. I talked to him. He's very happy about what I talk about WP with regards to Marine Parade, right? I tell him, no, look at my manifesto, our manifesto, and you understand why I say certain things. And he wrote back a message. Hello, Mr. Goh Meng Sing. I'm sorry that I have wrong impression regarding you expressing WP leaders. I agree to your voice. You are right. Angry to the let Marine Parade Bradder Heights walkover. All Singaporeans shall be given a chance to vote. And giving your party to contest. Especially, I read your party slogan and manifesto. Make Singapore home again. It's amazing. Well done, excellent. Your party really do many studies and research for the grounds. And I feel happy to have you and your party for ultimate voice. But your anger with WP leaders will not look good for you and him. Singaporeans need all the alternate parties. LKY, our grandfather of our nation, father of our nation, and not grandfather, once said, you want to get things done, then you must first be elected by the people. It is very true. Maybe the election is too short notice, that everyone are in tension. After election, maybe you and him can sit down and have a coffee in a calm environment. All of you have a heart for Singaporean. And our nations, all Singaporeans need all of you to voice different views. And especially now, towards the future of all our younger Singaporeans. I appreciate very much of your groundworks, and now more urgently need them forever. Good luck, and hope you and your party will be breakthrough and secure seat in Parliament. Now, to be frank, I don't really know, I don't want to mention the name, right? Pritam Singh. I mentioned it anyway. Very well. I have nothing against him. I have nothing against anyone. 虽然我是敢爱敢恨的人啊，但是我从不记仇。Right? Because we work for the betterment of this nation, where we should call home, not a hotel. We may have different perspective, but we have different strategies. But with regards to that, I felt strongly that as a person that is in this country, your rights must be defended. Yes! Woo! Then that's the mean. Now, you either love me or hate me for my courage or for my guts or for my straight talking manner. But do not misunderstand me. I fought for everyone's rights, from the old to the young, and to make this place our home again. How many of you felt that this is no longer give you the warmth of a home? And this is the feeling that I have inside. As a person who have gone through the 70s, the brighter 70s, right? The extraordinary 80s, but the decadent 90s. And the desperation of the 2000. I can tell you this is not the home anymore to me. I don't feel like a home. Why? Over the past few days, PPP have consolidated their messages. What are they telling Singaporeans? They tell us they never gamble with your lives and future. Is that true? The first thing that comes to my mind when you talk about gamble is the casinos. Not one, but two. You know, when they were talking about this casino in 2005, I was the one, I think the one and only one that stood up and says, no, we should not have it. Never mind what you call it, integrated resort. I actually did a forum with Workers' Party back then when I was in Workers' Party. I show all the statistics, I show all the studies done, how casinos ruin the lives of people in their states, in United States and Australia. And are we facing a lot of social problems now? You may not hear it, but yes, we are. People are jumping down from flats because of Tai Long. People are forced into chasing other people's debts because they own the loan shark debts. These are the social problems that nobody wants to talk about. How serious are these problems? Nobody knows. And don't ask me, I also don't know. It is not my job to do such collection of data. It is the ministry's jobs, the government jobs to provide such data and to tell us what's the damage of these casinos. And they said, never gamble with your lives. The vaccine itself, for the COVID or the future of vaccines, is a big gamble. I wonder why, back then in the COVID, Madam Ho Ching, the wife of the then Prime Minister, keep talking about pushing the whole vaccine. Vaccine, and nothing else but vaccine. Why? She was, back then, still a CEO of Temasek Holdings. And do you know Temasek Holdings have how many shares in BioNTech, which manufacture the Pfizer vaccines? Is that a conflict of interest? Yes. Well, may or may not be, but it seems to be to all of us. Conflict of interest is not rare in this government. Read out black and white ground. They say they have gone through everything, there's nothing wrong with it. Do you believe in the own self, check own self system? No. Do you believe? No. I die also never believe. Right? You put a gun in the hand, my head, I also don't believe. Why? How can you do it without declaration in the first place? You must declare openly that you are doing such thing. That's number one. And if you want to, okay lah, if you want to do that, you make sure you are not in charge of the ministry that oversees SLA and do it above board. I would never be convinced that there's nothing wrong about it. And if you send me into Parliament and you see how I would deal with this conflict of interest, because my party is built upon the very values of separation of powers, and such things should not happen. Why? CPIB should not come under the Prime Minister office. Right? It should be independent of the Prime Minister office, because the Prime Minister office is the executive. He is the one who runs the show of the daily operations. How can you get CPIB, which is supposed to put on checks of corruption, of any wrongdoings of all these operations, to be under the Prime Minister office? It doesn't make sense. Then what is the solution? It should be put under the elected presidential office. Never mind, at the moment, it is a PAP, ex-PAP man. Never mind. It must be separated from the executive. Then we will believe that there's a certain separation of powers to check the powers that be. Now, PAP is contradictory in the messaging. Chi Hong Tak said something, tripartite relationship. He says the unions are independent, right? You believe? Well, Lee Hsien Loong doesn't believe. The next day, Lee Hsien Loong says NTUC have a symbiotic relationship with PAP. So who should we believe? Tripartite relationship is compromised when your NTUC have a symbiotic relationship with the ruling party. It is just that simple. There's no separation of powers. And who is one of the biggest employer in Singapore? Do you know? GLCs, which is controlled by Temasek Holdings. So it's like the trinity, you know. It's not tripartite, it's trinity, right? The Father, the Son, right, and the Holy Spirit are the same, so-called. Amen. But this is politics. We are running a country. We need separation of powers. And we need to be seen to have a separation of powers. And that is what my party believes. That is the core values. Now, then he says, Singapore under PAP have a fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline, that means they don't anyhow spend money. And the concept is the current generation, whatever current generation needs, should be covered by this generation tax revenue. Very nice sounding right side. But what did they tell us when they want to raise the water bond tax last year by 30%? They said, we have to tax you because they are expecting the population, not the population, the consumption of water, which is caused by a population increase. In the future, the water consumption is going to be doubled. So we need to build infrastructure. In order to build infrastructure, we need to tax you now for the future generation. Then I ask you, are we supposed to finance our own needs or future generation? Is that a contradiction in the first place? Right? It doesn't make sense. And we are the future generation of our father's generation. Where are the monies that you save for us? That you tax and say you want to use on us? Vouchers. Now, just now my colleagues were telling us that Singapore is a nation of fear. That is actually from the 60s onwards, right now, till now. I am telling you, the vision of PAP is this. It's not only going to be a nation of fear, it's going to be a nation of beggars. Why? Because GST vouchers is going to be the norm, he says. Every year you can expect money from the government. We are not beggars. Of course, Singaporeans like it. But it is not the value that we should have as a nation. We have built this nation with hardworking people that doesn't expect free lunch. Is that so? But you are turning the whole culture, the mindset, into a nation that expect GST vouchers every year. And that is what they are teaching our children. Do you want that to be your government for the next 5 years? We are going to question this. It is very difficult to tell the truth. Why? Because if I say I'm against the GST vouchers, people will boo me, right? Right. But I'm telling everyone, this is not right. This is not fiscal discipline. You do not overtax people and return money to other people, to them, and expect them to be calling you God. Appreciate you giving them money. That is not right. It means I robbed you, then I give it back to you. Call me father. Can that be? No, that cannot be, right? That is not right. What is fiscal discipline? I will tell you what is fiscal discipline in economics. You do not overtax the people. By virtue of this government, after giving over $2 billion of vouchers, it still have $4 billion of surplus. That is overtaxation. Nothing said it. And the last one thing that they say is, PPP must not lose more seats or GRCs because PPP will be weakened under Lawrence Wong, right? He says, with less ministers. I have to correct Lawrence Wong this. Under the Constitution, a minister is not necessary, must be a members of parliament. Do you know that? Very few people know that. In fact, in history, in Singapore history, PPP have appointed the speakers of, if I remember correctly, speakers of parliament from someone who is not a member of parliament under the constitutional law. So you can vote out Masakos, never mind. If they want to put him back as a minister, I will not object. Right? There's no reasons to believe this. And the GRC system is PAP's own doing. Because if you want to lump all together with the ministers, then you say, oh, what beside su, right? What my ya, what boya, my minister died. You are actually taking us as hostage, all the voters as hostage by having this system. We did not ask for this system. You were the one who designed this system. First past the post in a GRC system is a leverage system. What does it mean? Exactly what is happening right now. PAP have 60% of the votes, popular votes, but they have 90% of seats. That is exactly what happened. But when it turned around, PAP may lose power by having 55% of the popular votes. 自作孽不可活. That's what I'm going to tell Lawrence Wong. You have dig your own grave, don't blame us if you lose your ministers. Our proposal for this is you can have a GRC system, but you use a proportionate representation system. You will not lose your ministers. You just lose your MPs. And let people like Paul Tambaya, Chi Zhuan, right? Of course me, to get into parliament, right? You can have your ministers and you can have people with policy ideas to get in and to make more robust debate in parliament when you do policy making. And that should be the way. And then they keep saying crisis is coming. Trump crisis and all that. I tell you what is a real crisis. The real crisis is this. They are putting so many civil servants, top civil servants into their slate and want to make them future ministers like the David Neo, right? Chief of Army, right? But let me ask you, if the policies they have made in the past, this group of civil servants have made your life difficult, when they really become the ministers, will your life be better? You'll be worse. Because there's a group thinking When you have the same people who are making the past policies to become ministers again, they cannot jump out of the box. How are they going to think of solutions that can bring us through in the future crisis? That is the real crisis that we are facing. Not about losing ministers. That is the real crisis. And therefore, I want everyone to think carefully in this coming election. When you go to the polling station, do not be affected by this fear they try to put into you. Fear of losing ministers, fear of losing more seats. No, that is not the point. Your fear should be whether we have enough people with robust policy ideas in Parliament to make this right for Singapore, especially the vaccine mandate. We want it to be out, right? Vote for PPP if you want this to be done. And I have to thank my supporters who have worked so hard to raise funds for us. I am a poor fellow, although rich in ideas. If it's not for their support, we may not fight this battle alone. My heartfelt thanks. And I hope that all of us will not disappoint such passion in this election. Thank you. Thank you. Merdeka! Merdeka! Merdeka!
One more time for Goh Meng Sing. Come on, let's hear it. Now, before we end, I will leave you with one thought. In this election, I want all of us in Singapore, everyone here in Ang Mo Kio, in Tampines, throughout this island, be fearless. All of you, be fearless. Choose according to what you know is right, because it has been made clear. Majulah Singapore. Let's try something. When I say people, you say power. People! 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 The power is in your hands. Don't you forget that. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Our next rally is going to be in Tampines, Concourse, 1st of May, same time, 7 to 10 p.m. That will be our last rally for this campaign. I hope to see all of you there again, which is just in 2 days. So it's this Thursday, again, 1st May, Tampines Concourse will be our last rally. So thank you so much, one and all. Have a good night, and we'll see you again. Take care. Thank you.